Welcome to our YouTube channel on Success and Women. Women helping women.
Come join us.
See you soon. Welcome to this week's episode of Success and Women. I'm Linda.
I'm Andrea.
And today we're going to be talking about time management. TikTok, that clock is always going. And for some of you, we know it's a challenge getting things done. But before we get into that, Andrea has a tip for the week.
Well, speaking about time management, when I just recently, when I saw something on one of my tip pages, and I thought, I'm going to try this because, when you're cooking or you're baking and you're looking for ingredients, and then you're looking for a tablespoon, you're looking for a teaspoon or a cup, and then you got to find the thing, and you're just wasting time running around the kitchen and washing out a spoon to use for something else. So I saw this tip, and I'm going to give you a couple over the year of how to use these. Something so simple. So it has to do with the old coffee the drip coffee filters. And you buy them in the dollar store. They're like $150 in a pack for like $2. And what you do is you use them like bowls. So I put out 4 or 5 of them on the counter. I put in all my ingredients, measured it, put it in, the flour, the baking soda, the baking powder,
Wow.
the chocolate chips, whatever I needed. I had it all there prepared. And on top of all that, after you use it, you just throw them in the garbage.
Wow.
Isn't that a great idea?
It's a fantastic idea because sometimes even for the bowls and stuff, I kind
Yes.
of run out. I mean, I have a lot less stuff in my cupboards because
Right.
I'm only one person. And so that's why then I have to use a bigger thing, and then the dishwasher fills up much faster. And
Exactly.
oh my God.
And for little nothing money.
Yeah.
And it saved me so much time. Everything was ready, prepared, and then I just in the bowl, done.
And it's biodegradable, so
Yes.
it would actually go into your blue bin.
Yes.
And I'm like, holy moly.
Yeah,
That's
isn't that a great idea?
That's a great tip. There's a lot of smart people out there, and that's why as we learn things, we're sharing them with you because,
Right.
wow,
I know. Actually,
that's a great time saver as well.
And I have with those filters, I have maybe 50 usages for them to help you around the house.
Well, there you're going to go because we're doing 50 questions to ask yourself
Yes.
as a better self. You're going to get 50 tips practically for these coffee filters.
to help you manage your time better.
That's right. That's
for today, for this topic.
Well, time management is always something that is so important. And we know that if you work or say you're the boss and or it's your business, we know that a lot of employees, and they say up to 89% will waste some time at work.
Oh,
and
sure.
most of the time wasters are actually social media. And I know that I've heard with the government, they want to ban the fact of they won't be able to see TikTok and stuff like that on work phones. And it's because people were spending too much time.
Oh, yes.
And that is not being productive.
Well, Linda, when you're out and about, when I'm out and about, just at the grocery store, whatever, people are constantly looking at their phone. They're crossing the street.
Yes.
Looking at their phone.
Don't look where they're going at all.
Or
noticed
I'll
that.
be standing in line at a cashier, and the cashier's trying to check them out, and they're busy on their phone. I'll go, excuse me, and sorry. Like, come on, pay attention to the present. They're wasting their time. That's what they're doing.
Absolutely. And so because of that, we also know then people have a hard time getting things accomplished. Makes sense, right? If you're spending all your time,
Yes.
I'll say on social media. I mean, some people might be going out, and getting a coffee like 10 times, going to the washroom a lot. I mean, if you have a health issue, that's not what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. But I'm talking about purposely
They just
wasting
wanna
a lot of time.
Take a break. They don't want to. And even back in the day when I worked, Linda, I mean, I remember getting personal phone calls. Like my husband
Yes.
would call me, and that would be 5-10 minutes. Or the same thing, I'd run off to the washroom just to, clear my head, or go chit chat with somebody about an event that's coming up. So I mean, those are things you can expect, but some people abuse it. And there were women in my office back in the day that spent most of their day shuffling paper while talking about social events and getting nothing done. So it's happened forever and it always will happen. But in your personal life or in your business life, you have to find a way to get things done. And you have to make lists, prioritize, set time limits. And maybe, yes, you do love to be on TikTok or Facebook. I love to check in the first thing in the morning, emails, Facebook, Instagram, but set a time. Just say, okay, after an hour, that's it. I'm going to, no, I'm usually an hour in the morning for sure. And then,
but that's fine.
Yeah.
Because that's part of your day.
My
but when
routine.
You're at work, you can't do that.
Not
if you've got work
not
to
at
do.
work. Not at work. No.
What they've said in some studies that sometimes when you've been on social media, to get back into a really good work mode, it's sometimes hard. Over 20 minutes to get back into, and then all of a sudden you're there doing it, and then all of a sudden, if
you run out of time.
You run out of time, or you've been interrupted again because, you've heard the ping of an email came in, a text came in.
Right.
And you have to even limit yourself how often you check your email.
Exactly.
How often you check. For most of us, if we have a job that's 9 to 5 or whatever, you do get lunch and you get a couple of breaks. Use that time so that you don't stress that you haven't gotten your work done. And Andrea, that was another thing that I read, that people that don't have good time management, a lot of times take that into their personal life and are stressed out because they know they've got all these things to do and they haven't been able to do it.
It's overwhelming.
It is. And you got to balance that personal and professional life that you have.
Yes.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. And I find I'm not in the business world right now, but my home is my business.
Absolutely.
And that's what I try to do. And the good thing is at night, once I'm done for the day and I'm sitting in my chair and watching a program or whatever, I start to think, what do I want to do tomorrow? What have I planned? And if it's nothing, then I don't worry about it. But if it's a day that I know I want to change the bedding, do the laundry, and I try to do it, throughout the day. And so now I go to bed knowing that that's my plan for the morning. And then so the minute I get up, in order to make sure that I strip the bed right away.
Yep.
Because now you have to remake it and you have to do the laundry. Sometimes I just take out a clean set of sheets and remake it right away. Or I just wash what's there and put it back if I have the time, if I'm going to be home all day. And then you go to the next step and the next step. And with every step that gets done, you feel better and better and less stress. And by the end of the day, you say, oh, wow, that feels good.
Well, you got a lot accomplished.
Yes.
And one of the things, especially if you do work outside the home, and I've done this many, many times, is that you write your list the night before you go to bed.
Right.
Because if you do that, you can have a better night's sleep because you're not thinking about all the things you've got to do.
Right.
And you don't want to forget. So you go to bed with that on your mind. It's like, then you're waking up and, oh yeah, I got to do this, I got to do. Well, you don't want to do that. You want to be able to know the next day it's already taken care of in the sense of you got the list, you know where you're going to be at.
And it's like when I was getting ready for my girlfriend's big event, I made a list.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
I made a list from the Monday to the Saturday to the event. And every day I made appointment for this or for that, for this or for that. I knew it was all the appointments were made. I made sure I wasn't running from one to the next. Whatever I needed, and we had to pick up our relatives at the airport. That was everything was slotted in, and so I didn't worry about oh gosh, I got to get my nails done. No, it's already set. Everything's set. The week went very calmly because
you wouldn't even be stressed about anything.
No, you wouldn't have to stress because you knew it was going to get done at the right time. So today I didn't worry about something that's going to happen on Thursday. I worry about that on Thursday, so, and prioritize, like, what needs to be done sooner, you book it sooner, or you get it done sooner, you do it sooner. Don't worry about something that doesn't have to be done for a week. I always say to my kids, I'll say, guys, worry about that when you have to worry about it, or when you have to think about it. Don't worry about something that's going to be happening in 2 weeks, because things could change. So yeah, it's all about prioritizing so that you're not stressed.
And also, if you can chunk things down. So for example, I know for me, it's hard sometimes to squeeze in a couple times of going to the gym, but I set that as my regular, I'll say, appointment now. It's in my calendar that every Wednesday, unless I'm out of town, every Wednesday I'm at the gym at 9:30 in the morning.
Right.
And so it gets me to the gym because I've made a commitment to my trainer. I have to show up. I'm going to be paying if I don't show up.
Right.
So, if you can do that and slot it in, and on Sundays, I do the same thing. At least I know I'm getting to the gym twice. If I go for a walk, if I can get to the gym in our condo building, that's all extra. And that's if I can squeeze it in, kind of thing. But one of the things that I heard recently was, if, for example, you want to write a book, or you want to write an article, or you want to do something, not only set the time in your schedule, but when you set it, set a time. So say, for example, 30 minutes, and whether that is even in, your social media, you set yourself an hour. But if you set yourself that 30 minutes to get something done, that's it. It's done. You can cross that off your list, that you've written for 30 minutes, you've meditated for 30 minutes, whatever it is that you've exercised, whatever it is that you needed to do, that you had it, you said it, and it's done.
Right.
That's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
But it also means that you can move on to the next step.
To the next thing.
And one of the things that you were reading, you mentioned, is that in between all of those time management slots that you're using, is give yourself 5 minutes. Give yourself 5 minutes to adjust to the next one, to give yourself a little, break for a glass of water, take a little water, take a walk,
clear your mind.
Because even that will help you to, I'll say, focus on that next
reset,
task.
yeah.
Yes, reset.
Even for me doing housework, I know I'll say, okay, I'll put in this load of laundry, and then I'll, or fold one load, put in the new one. Then I'll just take a break, just sit for a few minutes, and either, if I'm watching a program or whatever. But I'm always trying to plan so that I know what's coming, I know it's going to get done, and I don't stress about getting it done. And I can't say that, I can't stress that enough. People in this world are so stressed out.
Yes.
And I think it is a lot to do with the social media, because
but also the time management.
That's what I mean. Yes. They get wrapped up in it.
Yes.
And then they forget about their housework, or they forget about dinner, or I'll just grab a pizza. I want to do this, or I want to do that.
But you've also mentioned something to me earlier, is the fact that there's so much negativity on social media.
Yes.
And it draws you in, instead of, saying, I'm just going to look for something positive and then end it here.
Yeah.
And so you can spend so much time, and then you start thinking about that.
Yes.
Like you take things personally from somebody that doesn't even know you.
Exactly.
Because people love to be negative.
They do.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah. And it just messes with your life,
yes, and your mind.
And you need your mind to be sharp and thinking about your goals and what you need to get done and what you need to accomplish, because that's what ultimately lets you have a great day, when you feel like you're being productive and you're getting stuff done.
And that really gets back to when we talked about recently, and of course in the beginning of the year, goal setting. Little goals. And that's what prioritizing and your time management is doing.
Right.
Is getting you closer to your goals. And it's all these little baby steps that you're taking along the way.
And make lists, like we were saying, and have a personal list of things you need to get done personally, and a business list. things you need to get done for your job or work or,
Yeah.
whatever that may be. And figure out the timeline. What can you get done quicker or faster, or to get off your list, and what's going to hold you up, what's not going to hold you up. And we always have setbacks, like we were saying. Somebody will phone, like there'll be a phone call that you weren't expecting,
Right.
or a visitor that you weren't expecting, or like somebody will FaceTime me. Like I'll be in the middle of washing the floor. My sister will be, FaceTiming me. And, but I want to answer because, I don't, you never know what it's about.
Right, and that's precious
Yeah.
anyway, to keep those ties.
Yes.
But again, you have to get yourself refocused very quickly, and you got to figure out the little tricks that you can do to get back on track.
Right.
But I was telling you, Andrea, that I make lists a lot, and sometimes, you've read where, you should tackle the hardest one. But for me, time sensitive ones have to be done. There's no issue there.
Right.
And sometimes I do push the envelope and do it last minute, but I work under pressure
A lot of
very
people
well.
work under pressure.
But a lot of times on my list, I'll have little things that I know, you know what, this is going to be easy. That's only going to take a couple minutes. I'll do that and get it out of the way.
That's right.
And my list gets shorter. I see a lot of check marks then, and I feel better. And now I've got more time to focus on that one thing that is the more important thing.
Right, right. Well, and like I was telling you too about people working under pressure, and it's always a joke that when you're got the house all cleaned or you've cooked a special meal, the husband or somebody will say, "Oh, are we having company?" That's always a motivator to get things done if you're under pressure for time and you want the house to look nice, or you want to present them a nice meal. It's a real motivator. And I just had that recently with people coming from out of town. And so I said, because I'd been putting it off, and, oh, nope, today's the day. And it was just like the road runners, got it all done. So I was very happy. So sometimes you're very good to yourself and you make the list and you do it when you should and you prioritize your time. And then there's other times that you run out of time and then you have to go like the road runner.
But sometimes, and especially in a work situation, there's things that you can do actually to help you manage your time. And I find now with AI, sometimes people were a little bit worried and nervous that it's going to take away jobs. But I find with AI, it actually can help you do your job much faster. So there's things that you can almost delegate, whether you have a person to delegate to, like I have an assistant and I give my assistant a lot of stuff. But now I'm finding that even AI is very helpful. And so I can write an article very quickly.
Some people don't understand what AI is. Linda.
Artificial intelligence. And so it's becoming more and more popular now, and it can really help you. So as an example, and I was mentioning this to you, so I use AI sometimes to help me write the article. So I give AI the information I want. So whatever the topic is, I give them the breakdown of the things that I want included in the article. And they can very quickly, within seconds, make it really sound really nice. So I don't have to spend the time writing it, making sure I've got the right punctuation and everything else. I've given them the information so I know statistically what's coming out is the correct information.
Right. That's fantastic.
It's really great. But then again, you get some people like my partner, he actually prefers to write them himself. And I'm like, why would I spend half an hour or an hour writing up something? I already know the ideas.
Right.
And my ideas are all there on paper, and I get somebody else. And it's no different than if I hired another assistant and paid them and said, okay, now put it together.
Well, Linda, I'm always going back to personal, but it's like what I find with some of my friends, now that I have my iPad, I download books and I definitely get all my recipes from there now. Whereas my friends are like, oh, no, I still want to hold the book. I still want to read the recipe. Well, you know how time consuming that is to go to a store, find a good book, go through the cookbook, see what you want. That is time consuming. So for me, using that for those reasons has saved me a lot of time. But like
Absolutely.
you say, he doesn't want to use the AI, and
No,
my
but-
friends don't want to use the iPad.
Yeah, so they can do what they want.
Exactly.
I'm just not going to do it anymore. So it's kind of like,
Right.
why would I waste the time on that? Because now I know I can dedicate the time to something that's more important.
Exactly.
And again, we only have 24 hours in a day. So where do you get more time?
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm
finding...
And if you don't take the time to do what you need to get done, you are going to suffer like mentally and physically.
Absolutely.
You just say it gets overwhelming and you say, forget it. I'm not doing anything.
But you know, the other thing is too, is that when you can delegate, there's some things that must be done by you, but don't think that you're the only one that can do something.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's worth paying somebody to do it. And whether that's
Yes.
cutting your grass,
Yes.
cleaning your house, or you get an assistant that can take care of the administrative stuff that you don't need to do.
Exactly.
And I know I've met lots of people that won't hire an administrative assistant. They said, no, I can do it. And I'm saying, but you don't understand. You're taking away from something that's really money making to do something that's costing you money.
Exactly.
That time
Yes.
that you could pay somebody else to do that
is worth it.
It's worth it because you pay, your administrative assistant hopefully a lot less than what you're making when you're dedicated to doing the work that you're the expert at.
Exactly.
And so don't think that you have to be superwoman and do everything yourself.
That's right.
Getting things done is important, but it doesn't have to be done by you personally.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing when people think that they've got to run their house, they have a career, they're raising kids, they're taking them to school functions, you know what I mean, or dance clubs or soccer practice.
I went through all of that.
All of that instead of saying to another parent, do you mind picking up little Johnny because you know what, I have a meeting or I have to do something else. And that way the child is going, it's just a practice anyway. You're not missing Johnny's game, but you don't have to be there and do all of it yourself.
And another thing too, if you, for your personal life, in your community, in your area, find maybe one of those small strip plazas that has everything that you need. Like the one that I have close to my home that has a drugstore, it has a grocery store, it has a dry cleaners, it has a bakery, it has an LCBO.
Wow.
Yes, it has a bank, and it has some other little shops to go looking through.
Wow.
And a little convenience store and a Swiss Chalet.
Oh.
So that is wonderful. It's all one.
Yeah, you're not running all over the city.
I'm not going to a million different places, which I love. So if you can find something like that, and use them. Use the people that are there, the cleaners, the whatever. Give them a try. You might love them. I know we all have our favorites of this and that.
But you want to support local businesses,
you want to support
as well,
local
and save yourself time.
And save yourself time and gas from running all around.
Yeah,
yes.
That's true. But I like the idea of sometimes outsourcing some of the stuff.
Yes,
definitely. And like Andrea said, find locations where you can get a lot of your errands done in a shorter time. And let's see what else we've been able to do. Oh, the most important, stop procrastinating. We all do it.
Oh, yes.
We all do it. But if you schedule it, stick with the schedule. If you don't, go back to it. It's like what we talked about recently on an episode. You can get derailed at any point in time, but you can also get back on track.
That's right.
So we hope that was helpful. And again, this is part of the 50 questions that you can ask yourself and how you can be better, in this case, in time management, to lead yourself forward to make a better self for you.
Yeah.
So until next time, I'm Linda.
I'm Andrea.
And we hope you
like,
share,
and please subscribe.
Give us the 2 thumbs up. Until next week.